So, with all the stuff that I am doing over this weekend, like, doing stuff, at home, also watching a bit of wrestling, Marvel decides to release a little mini series in between all that. So, I was able to watch it. Thankfully, I was able to watch it all in one sitting. The episodes were all really, really short. And when I say really, really short, I mean they were like 30 minutes. So that was awesome. It only amounted to like 2 hours, which was really, really great. But I have to say this was really, really good, and I really liked how they wrapped it all up. Not only as a, you know, little mini series, but also leading into its franchise. So let's talk about this, shall we? Of course, my name is Daniel Strunk. Welcome to QuickTime Reactions, and I am, of course, talking about Eyes of Wakanda, the animated miniseries that has just dropped on Disney Plus, and I'm here to give my thoughts on all four of the episodes, which are entitled Episode 1, Into the Lion's Den, Episode 2, which is Legends and Lies, Episode 3, which is entitled Lost and Found, and Episode 4, which is entitled The Last Panther. Episode 1 tells the story of a outcasted Dora Milaje warrior named Noni, who is sent on a mission to try and find a former Wakandan who now goes under the alias of the King. In episode 2, we follow Memnon as he is involved in the Trojan War with, of course, Achilles and Odysseus and all that stuff, as he tries to find an artifact that was stolen from Wakanda. In episode 3, which is Lost and Found, a stowaway infiltrates the Golden City and tries to take away its secrets that they keep from within it. And in episode 4, which is The Last Panther, a father or a general and the prince are sent on a mission to try and recover an artifact. But someone from the future tells them that that artifact is of great importance to not only them, them meaning like the people in the future, but also to the Wakandans of the future. So, I really, really like the animation style that they chose in this. It looks like they use the best way that I can describe it is if they combined Disney's hand-drawn animation with like maybe the 3D animation of Sony as well, maybe just like a bit of like the Spider-Verse style of animation mixed in with like the animation from like Prince of Egypt. That I saw a little bit of inspiration in that as well, which in turn makes it like a really, really cool animation style that I hope more people use going forward. The first episode really kind of sets the tone as to what you're going to get in this series. And by the end of it, I literally had the thought in my head, I'm like, oh, this is literally Predator, Killer of Killers, but instead of the Predators, we instead follow Wakandans. And I think that's pretty cool. And also inserting them into all these like different historical eras, much like what Dan Trachtenberg has done with the Predator franchise, I think is really, really genius because you get to see them use all of this cool tech against, you know, the the outside world and our primitive tech. I think that's just a really cool concept that I think more people should try and use going forward. Episode 1, I really like the story of Noni in this, whereas like she's a former Dora Milaje who's sent on this mission to try and detain someone who is also a former Wakandan. Um, and the fight sequences in this are really, really good, and they actually show a bit of blood in this, which I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Um, but in the end, though, the lion kind of sets off an explosion that takes him out and also sinks his ship. And Noni is not able to recover him or any of the artifacts that he stole to kind of build up his empire. But the head of the Dora Milaje, Akia, I think that was her name. She invites her back into the Dora Milaje with open arms, but instead we get introduced to a new branch of the Wakandan kind of hierarchy, and that is a subdivision called the War Dogs, who are basically sent into the outside world on all these missions to try and recover artifacts that were stolen from Wakanda, which I think is just like really, really cool. Moving on to episode 2, I have to say, like, naming the character Memnon, as in, like, Agamemnon, is, like, I think that's really, really cool. And also including characters like Achilles and Odysseus in this. Like, having this set in, like, the Trojan War just made my little nerd heart just, like, sing so proudly. And I just loved seeing not only like the fights in this episode, but also I had the thought in my back of the head. It was just like, does Memnon suggest the idea of the Trojan horse? Like, did the idea of the Trojan horse come from Wakanda? But no, it doesn't end up being that way. Also, I must say, if this isn't included in Christopher Nolan's version of the Odyssey, I'm going to be very disappointed in that. I'm kidding. But I also love what happens because, of course, Memnon is there to get an artifact, which is a necklace being worn by Helen of Troy. So he gets the necklace, and Achilles sees this, and he's like, immediately goes to traitor. You were an agent of, you were a secret spy for Troy this entire time, and they have this big fight. And of course, Achilles is, I wouldn't necessarily say outmatched, but he is at a slight disadvantage because Memnon has, Wakandan tech, and so he's able to, hold his own against Achilles. But they are struggle in a pond. Memnon is able to grab a sword, and when Achilles raised his leg, I'm like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, because sure enough, Memnon goes across that heel and cuts his Achilles tendon, and so he's barely able to stand. But Memnon is able to stab him in the chest and place him gently into the little pond area. And Achilles is like, was everything that you said to me a lie? And Memnon's like, not everything, and then places the coins over his eyes, because that was a thing that they did in the ancient times, was you have to have your coins for your ferryman to the afterlife. when Memnon, who is called um, Bakai, I believe is his Wakandan name, but I think I'm still going to call him Memnon. When Memnon comes to Wakanda, he meets up with Noni, who is a little older, of course, still wearing the eye patch that she was wearing towards the tail end of the first episode. And Memnon's like, I feel like a stranger in here. Like, I was out in the outside world for 10 years serving Wakanda, and yet I'm back here and I feel like a stranger. Just keep giving me missions. Just send me out into the outside world. And Noni's like, if that is what you wish, but who are you really doing this for? What are you searching for when you do this? And then it just fades to black right there. And I love that question kind of being posited. It's like, why are you doing this? And who are you doing it for? I love that. Going to episode 3, which is Lost and Found, we open with our character, our undercover Wakandan agent, who's named Basha. He is there recovering a piece of like vibranium tongue inside of a dragon statue. He's able to take that back to Wakanda, but he doesn't realize that there is a stowaway on his ship. And so this stowaway, who we later find out was a woman named Johai, I believe was her name. She was able to rescue Basha, kind of like nurse him back to health. And then once he did, he went back to his mission, but she ended up following him. And so they get into a big fracas. And when I saw that there was like something like emitting out of her hands, I was like, okay, so she has like powers coming out of her hands. And then when she started describing, the place that she was from and that she defeated a dragon to get her powers, I was like, they sincerely did another animated version of Iron Fist before we actually get a live action Iron Fist in the MCU. I was like, holy moly, that is absolutely insane, because Iron Fist did show up in What If Season 3. It was in the Western episode with Cowboy, Shang-Chi, and Kate Bishop, as well as our first appearance of the Hood, although the Hood in that episode was very different. So, yeah, I just love the fact that they just keep bringing in Iron Fist and just like kind of integrating the concept of Iron Fist in all these cool different ways. I thought that was really, really cool. But I just love that Iron Fist is able to just like grab onto like the vibranium tongue and just like break it off. I'm like, I'm assuming this is what you wanted. I'll take this and I'll be on my way. Thank you. And Basha shrugs it off to the High Counselor as like, oh, that was just a little drill that Ebo here, who's his kind of commanding officer, is like, Ebo set up this little drill to see, where we were lacking in our security. So kind of saving Iron Fist, and they're able to send her off safely with the statue. And then, of course, we come to episode 4, which is The Last Panther. We follow Kuda and Prince Tafari. Yep, Tafari. As they are in what looks like an African village, recovering, of course, an artifact. And when they showed this artifact, it was an axe. And I was like, wait a minute. I've seen this axe before. And it was the exact same axe that was shown, or that Killmonger and Claw were trying to steal in the beginning of Black Panther, because the head of that axe was made out of vibranium. But a Black Panther comes and stops their vehicle from re-entering Wakanda, and this Black Panther shows them, what happens in her timeline, where a massive horde, which I'm going to refer to as like the Starship Trooper aliens, which are like, just like these big bugs that shoot laser beams at not only the Dora Milaje but also the Black Panther. They just wipe out the entirety of not only the world but also Wakanda as well. And the Black Panther is like, the only way that this gets fixed is if you put that axe exactly where you found it, because then it'll set off a whole chain of events about a forgotten son who, goes and finds that axe. He gets reunited with his family, and then the king of Wakanda will then open up Wakanda to the world, sharing its resources, and so there'll be trust there, and the horde won't kill everybody. And I'm like, so the fact that they left the axe where it was supposed to be, or where it was, basically saved Wakanda without them ever knowing it. I'm like, that is such a cool way to integrate this into the two movies that are already out. I thought that was so clever. And so Kuda and Tafari race to put the axe back where it was. Meanwhile, in the future timeline, the Dora Milaje and the Black Panther are trying to stop this horde from, trying to, destroy everything. But in the end, though, they are able to put the axe back right where it was, and everything is as it should be, and everything goes forward as it should, and as we know it does in the movies. And man, that was such a brilliant way to end off the series, and I think the series as a whole was really good. I must give major props to John Fang and Todd Harris, who were the directors that directed the 4 episodes. Todd Harris did episodes 1 and 4, as well as co-directing 3 with John Fang, and John Fang did episode 2. Mark Bernardin wrote episodes 2 and 3, and then Jeffrey Thorne wrote episodes 1 and 4. I thought they did an absolutely amazing job at not only making the stories individualized, but also making an impressive through line throughout the entirety of it. It was absolutely stupendous, and it was really awesome. If you guys have the ability to, if you have Disney Plus, I highly recommend that you check out Eyes of Wakanda, because it is so rewarding if you are a long time or even a new time MCU fan, because surely you have seen Black Panther, and it's just really good. It's really good. And yeah, that's pretty much it for my review of Eyes of Wakanda. Let me know down in the comments what you guys thought of Eyes of Wakanda. But yeah, that is it for me, guys. Be safe out there, and remember, don't keep vibranium around the house, because you never know when, a Dora Milaje will just come in and basically have you at spear point to try and get that vibranium back. So just don't have vibranium, and you won't be in that situation. Just some solid advice from me. And I will see you guys next time.